At the next general election, I really, really do think there is a massive opportunity for certainly Labour not only to really make the issue of ending MPs' sort of second jobs a thing, but to really tighten the lobbying rules in and around MPs. There is such a mountain of stuff they could very easily win on that they have already talked about doing. It's just they have to make this a reality. They have to commit to doing this. And I think this should almost be, if they really do want to make this a thing, that the first thing they do in like Keir Starmer's like first 100 days, this is what he does. This is like the first bill his parliament should pass. I think that would not only be a massive win for them electorally in an upcoming general election, but it would almost certainly go a massive, massive, massive way in trying to at least restore some trust that has very clearly been lost by people in their faith in politics. And I've always said that when people start to lose faith in politics, we start to get very bad things happen. People stop turning out to go and vote, which has a massive impact on things. They stop getting involved in sort of policy decisions or paying attention to what goes on in Parliament. And trust me, it's a big issue. But this isn't something that can just be solved overnight. And I am not naive enough to think if Starmer did do that, like he made this a thing in election, and that was like the first thing they passed. I am not naive enough to think that this would just resolve this issue of people having lost faith in politics overnight or disconnecting from the political game. I'm not naive enough to do that. That is a very, very much a long-term situation that MPs really have to worry about and solve, and not just people from one political party. All political parties, it's something they should worry about and try very, very much so to try and restore faith in people's politics. But it doesn't help where you get things like this. Now, this is obviously not surprising. Like I say, surprise, surprise, another Tory potentially caught lobbying. And I have to say potentially at the moment because it does look like it's an ongoing investigation. So bear with me if something changes or in the next possibly couple of hours. It's very likely that may be the case, but we'll see. So as always, before we do get going into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the One Off Station link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. There's YouTube thank you button, and of course, the Pony Club down below as well. So, as always, let's go diving on over into this to find out what a very naughty boy this one Scott Benton appears to have been. And here's the thing. When it comes to this whole lobbying scandal, as is always sort of seems to be the case on these things, this could be very easily done. This is something Sunak could do right now if he wanted to, just end MPs' second jobs. But this is going to bring, I think, this case back to light very, very quickly. And if it is seen that this guy has lost, has done what he has certainly been claimed to be in the sting when we find about the investigation into this. This could certainly trigger a by-election. It certainly all of a sudden looks like Blackpool South, could go into a by-election because of this. So this is not going to make a lot of certainly people in the Tory party very happy that he has gone and done this. But yeah, this is another unnamed, unknown MP. Like I say, no one has probably heard of Scott Benton probably before this. Just as is the case, like I say, there's just so many MPs. I would certainly struggle to really name a lot of sort of MPs. But again, he's sort of brought, shall we say, this case to the fore yet again. And what has been the continuing doldrums, what has dragged the Tory party into their election pits, it's been cases like this. This is not going to help them. But let's go diving into this to find out more about this. So, this comes from The Guardian with the title of Tory MP Scott Benton has whip suspended after newspaper sting. So, a Conservative MP who reportedly offered to lobby ministers on behalf of the gambling industry has leaked a confidential policy document for up to $4,000 a month has had the party whip suspended. So he's not just offering to lobby here. He has actually released confidential policy documents. Like this is very, very big. Very, very big. So Scott Benton, the MP for Blackpool South, was caught by an undercover reporters for the Times, posing on behalf of a fake investment fund, saying that he could, quote, call in favours from colleagues and get easy access to ministers when queuing for parliamentary votes. Late on Wednesday night, a spokesperson for the Tory chief whip, Simon Hart, said that Burton had the party whip suspended whilst the investigation was ongoing. Burton has referred to himself as the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards, the spokesperson added. In the statement to the Times, when Burton said he had contacted the Commons authorities after the meeting to try and seek advice because he was, quote, concerned of what he was being asked of me was not within the parliamentary rules and that there had been, quote, no further contact. However, this revelation threatens to ignite the allegations of the sleaze within the Conservative Party and shine a light on the world of paid lobbying in Westminster. Benton, who receives regular hospitalities from the gambling industry, was one of 8 Tory MPs the Times is said it approached. The paper is said that it touted its fictitious investment fund trying to seek an expert advisor amid a significant review on gambling laws, and that gambling insight from policymakers is a key part of a strategic investment strategy. While some MPs did decline, Burton was said to have been happy to meet. Elected in 2019, his constituency is being reshaped under the boundary review, and it was set to kick in before the next general election, raising questions about whether he will actually stand again and where. Burton was asked what he could offer the fake company, and insisted, and instead of a PR of a PR or a lobbying firm, the Times said that according to the paper, he said there is probably 10 different PR firms I know who are trying to get meetings with the minister. It's the beauty of politics, if you like. We are that we vote in the House of Commons and 2 or 3 times a day, and we'll be voting later. You will literally stand at the beginning of the entrance to the voting lobby, and if you wait there for 5 minutes, the minister has to pass you. And then you've got 10 minutes while you can walk around to the next vote and have his ear. So, very clearly, basically bragging, yeah, we've got access to ministers. And, oh, by the way, I'll charge you £4,000 a day. Oh, it does seriously make you wonder that even though we've seen, of course, there was the whole thing that Led by Donkeys got of like Kersey Kutang and like and other MPs that it caught as well. Just how far this really goes. And I think, as I've said before at the beginning, if Labour wanted to make this a big, serious general election issue, they could, and they would probably win a lot of votes just on this fact alone. So it's something they should be really paying attention to, and I hope they are. So Benton did went on to suggest that he could, if hired, provide real-time information and easy access to ministers, as well as sitting down with them to go through the formal response to a policy consultation, line by line, the Times reported. He is also alleged to offer to, quote, put parliamentary questions on the table. So that straight away, big scandal, if you may remember, back at the end of sort of the last Labour government, the whole cash for questions scandal that erupted. Here he is offering to do the same thing. So, referring to written questions that MPs can submit to the government departments, Benton is said to have told the undercover reporters, we can table things on the public record and get an instant response within 5 working days on any question whatsoever. which obviously nobody else outside the political realm can. Benton took out his phone and read aloud one such question he had submitted, the paper said. He said that it was sent on the 17th of February on behalf of one business, essentially. However, it was not clear whether he had received any financial reward for doing so. Again, something we certainly they should probably be looking into. Talk also turned to the government documents and information ahead of the publication of a long-awaited white paper on gambling law changes. The Times said that Burton could, quote, guarantee he could be able to pass on a copy of the latest review within 48 hours of it being published publicly, adding he could make it a song and dance to make sure that he got early access to it. The allegations have also led to questions being raised about Burton's compliance within the common rules. The current code of conduct says taking payment in return for advocating a particular matter in the House is strictly forbidden. Members may not speak in the House, vote, or initiate parliamentary proceedings for payment in cash of any kind. Daisy Cooper, the Liberal Democrats' deputy leader, said that these shocking revelations are yet another damning indictment of the state of the Conservative Party. The British public are sick of the Conservative sleaze, and Rishi Sunak must strip Benton of the Conservative Party whip immediately. Anything less would be make a mockery of his claim to restore integrity. Burton said that he had agreed to the meeting to find out what the role entailed. In a statement provided to the Times, he pointed to several moves that he said were evidence that he had been attempting to follow the MP's code of conduct. He said that he did not provide his CV as was requested during the meeting because he was, quote, concerned that that was being asked too much of me, what was not within the parliamentary rules. And later, Benton claimed he contacted the Commons Register and the Parliamentary Standing Commissioner, who clarified the rules for me and said he had no further contact with the company. Benton added, I did this before being made aware that they were that they were a company and that they did not exist, and the individuals claiming to represent it were journalists. The Guardian has approached Benton for his response. These revelations have also raised questions about the struggle to clamp down on MPs' second jobs. There have been a string of stories regarding senior politicians offering their services to outside companies. The former Tory MP, Owen Paterson, committed an egregious breach of the rules on paid advocacy and ultimately resigned after a very bitter feud was triggered by government-backed attempts to try and spare him from suspension. Recently, the former cabinet ministers, Matt Hancock and Kersey Katang, agreed to work for over £10,000 a day to further the interest of another fake company, having been duped by the campaign group led by donkeys. Both MPs deny any wrongdoing. So it makes you wonder just how much really this is going on. And I suspect this is going on a lot. I really do. It doesn't surprise me that they're trying to bend the rules, because you had Boris Johnson, who was the leader of the party. Now you've got Rishi Sunak, who said, "Yeah, I'm going to pledge to restore all this." Now, I think he has, has had the whip suspended from him, but it's now sort of a question of, well, does he resign? Certainly, there is no going to be any attempt from the government to try and save him, like Owen Paterson. Like I say, I think maybe the government has maybe learnt their lesson from that scandal erupting into something what it obviously eventually erupted into. And will they learn the lessons from this? Absolutely not. But I guarantee you, there are lots of Tory backbench MPs like this guy who are relatively unknown, who do not have any big ministerial jobs, so they can't obviously get the cash for claiming that, and probably want more cash, want more money, and they see this as being a massive benefit. And well, if what he said was reported, what he said to the Times was true, that is an egregious breach of rules, of standards for MPs, and I would hope that he gets suspended and that this triggers a by-election, and ultimately he would lose his seat. I do not see how he could stand again, to be honest. But certainly, of course, with the boundary changes, it would certainly, I think, by the looks of it, call into question of him, so we say, making a flight to anywhere else, as we've seen other Conservative MPs tried to do all of recently. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.